It's definitely crazy because like you said, like even with racism, it's statistically dropping. And you have people of all kinds of backgrounds getting into the highest places in both government and success and entrepreneurship. But in our faces, it seems like racism is at an all-time high. You know, like on
because
like news and
because there's so much information, so you see and hear everything now.
Yeah.
So there's this weird illusion that's created by the internet where things that are incredibly rare can be made to look incredibly common.
Yeah.
Just like viewpoints that are incredibly rare can be made to look extremely popular.
Yeah.
So if you're someone who spends a lot of time online, there's this disparity between what you observe in the real world versus what you observe online.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, if I wasn't someone who, if I didn't travel a lot, if I were someone who just lived in the UK and I stayed in the UK and I'd never been to America, for example, and all my info about the USA was from what I see on social media, I would be like, I'm not stepping foot in that country. Right? Because what's making the news? What's going viral? Oh my gosh, this person's being murdered. This looting is going on here. Oh my gosh, this police officer just killed this guy over here. Look at these people fighting. Look at all their crazy political stuff. Oh my gosh, they're transing the kids and they're doing like all this, like there's just all this gnarly stuff coming out every day. School shootings, like you just, oh my gosh, like this place is dangerous. And I know British people who will not travel to the USA for these reasons.
Yeah.
Because their view of this country is just the extreme news stories and things that are, and they're like, and you see so much of it. And then you actually come and you're like, oh, where's the race war? Where's the white supremacy I heard about? Where are the, wait, I thought the evil cops were just driving around picking off black people. I thought like I thought everyone was hating everyone. I thought that, and you're just, whatever city you're in, you're like, 99.9% of people are just getting on with their lives. They're getting on fine. They're not having shootouts in the street or whatever it is. And yeah, I think this happens across all these different areas where, it can sort of mess up people's views and perceptions, and it runs in different directions. Simultaneously, I've met Americans who are afraid to go to the UK because they think they're going to get stabbed or they're going to be the victim of a terrorist attack or they're going to, and I'm like, dude, like you can go to London. Like it's not, you're not getting the probability of you like just walking down the street in London and some crazy happens. It's really low. Like you can go, you can check out the nice, pretty buildings. You can learn about the history. You can meet people. People are going to treat you nicely. Don't worry, regardless of your background. And it cuts in all ways. I spend a lot of time in the Middle East. Spend a lot of time, particularly in Dubai now, but growing up in Saudi Arabia, living and you talk to people in the West, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, like, what if you go there? Like, is it safe for a woman to go? Whatever." And you're just like, man, like, get off the internet and hop on a plane, check out some places, and you'll.
It's even like that just in America, like, because it makes other places' problem like your problem. Like with like one of my friends, he's a police officer in East LA. And East LA is where my wife's from. And it's like 98 or 99% Hispanic. There's like 0 white people, 0 black people, 0 Asians. It's literally like 98, 99% Hispanic. And during the whole like defund the police movement, where the police were viewed as like these
ACAB.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're out, they're just all innately racist and all that. Happening in other parts of the country, it reflects back, and now they have their own distrust in the police. And then the police that have spent the last 10 years like building relations with the community, they're like, we are not even like that color. We're not part of that racial tension or anything. I'm Hispanic, you're Hispanic. We've built like our rapport over the last 10 years and all of that was gone. Everyone hates the cops. Just right there.
Do you want to know how crazy it got? The same thing happened overseas.
Really?
It's the same in the UK.
Wow.
UK and police don't even have guns.
Oh my god.
People are walking around with signs, hands up, don't shoot. I was like, guys, what?
That's crazy.
Like, it was the craziest.
That's crazy.
That's the internet.
Wow.
Right? Like after the wake of the George...
like, what do you mean no shit? I've never shot. I can't shoot if I wanted to.
Yeah, it was wild. It was like this thing happens in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then 3 days later in London, in Berlin, in Sydney, Australia, You've got people out on the street, and they had the ACAB graffiti, everything.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And I was like, how? Like, this doesn't even make sense in this country's context.
Yeah.
The British police, on average per year, I think shoot like 2 or 3 unarmed civilians in total. And it's typically because like there's some years it's 0.
Yeah.
Like the police don't have, the average police officer does not have a gun.
They just have like a little baton or something.
Yeah, they've got a baton and maybe a taser.
A whistle.
Yeah. Because the US is different because the US is an armed population.
Yes. Yeah,
the US has more guns than people.
Yeah.
UK is totally different. So yes, there is crime and there are problems and there are special firearm units within the police. So it's not like the entire police force in the UK doesn't have any guns, but the standard police officers who are just driving around or who are walking around on the beat, they don't have guns, and neither do citizens. So that whole narrative doesn't even, it's not true in the US in the way that it's framed.
Yeah.
But it's even goofier to take it and try to stick it on a country like the UK or Australia, where you're like, what do you mean hands up, don't shoot? No, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but that's the internet.
Yeah, that's the problem with the internet, where I think people lose context. They see something and they don't have time to themselves to think about what is actually happening or how to categorize information. And then people just go nuts, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you stay sane with that all?
With all this?
Yeah. Especially being in this world for such a long time.
I think I try to zoom in as much as I can to like the micro level. Like, so what is important to me? Me, my son, my wife. You know, so like, is my family, am I good, first of all? Am I healthy? Can I be a good father? Can I be a good husband? Am I working hard towards my own personal goals? If I'm a healthy organism, then comes the next bigger unit, which is my family, my immediate family. Then the next slightly bigger unit, my extended family. And then is my street good? Like, it takes a few steps before I even really like even make politics really a part of the equation. Because first of all, like, if people are like out there screaming about whatever side they're on, and you don't even know your neighbor's name, I'm like, dude, you need to, it starts with, you know, yourself, and then how are you building the community around? Because if your neighbor doesn't know you enough to even take out the trash or put it away for you, and you guys can lean on each other, like, that's where community is first. You know, like the more communal policies, the nonverbal policies, before you get to like crazy legit like legislation. So I think when my unit is good, and the school my kid goes to is good, he's living a healthy practice, and we have a really good family dynamic and environment, and I can kind of see 3-5 years down the line that we're scaling towards success. That's what grounds me. Like, that's my anchor.
I get that.
Everything else, that's noise. And I've gotten myself to a point where I feel like I'm pretty financially comfortable, where I can make drastic decisions anytime I want. I can move from this city anytime I want. Just kind of like how I moved out of California 3 years ago. And I'm willing to move anywhere in the world that I need to keep the peace of mind that my family has. And that's like the most important thing to me. So everything else, I almost view as if it's a movie that's happening. And as much as I can, I'll try to contribute to this movie. But when I like put my phone down, or if I turn off the internet, it's me walking out of the movie theater. It has no effect on how my son views me, how I view my son and my family.